All right, everybody. To begin, I will introduce our host for today, Mark Laham. Mark has been featured in several conferences as both a workshop leader on the mat and a business coach off the mat. Most recently, he presented at the Vancouver Yoga Conference, where he was asked to present his popular Buddha business class. Make sure to look out for Mark's upcoming presentations at the Yoga Conference in Toronto this April and the Hong Kong International Conference in June. He's a seasoned teacher trainer and enjoys assisting other professionals in growing both their teacher training programs as well as their regular student base, while keeping his finger on the pulse of industry trends. Without any further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Mark and he'll begin the webinar.
Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Before we start this seminar, can I just know from you guys what your energy level is like from a count of 1 to 10? How are you feeling today? Let me know. Everybody in that chat box. 10, that's awesome. Anybody else? Laura's there, 10. That's a great energy level. 12, 8, 3. All right, Laura, we're going to get you up from 3. 8, great. Come on. So what we need to do by the end of this webinar, we want everybody's energy level up quite a bit. Even if you're at a 10, we want you at a 12 by the end of this seminar. So is everybody ready? I need a yes. Oh, there you go. Vahid's ready. Absolutely. All right. So happy New Year to everybody, first of all, because it is still January and it's the new year. And yes, and this webinar couldn't have come at a better time. It's how not to lose your new students from the New Year rush. So let's begin now. And so what this seminar is about is like every January we get this rush of people in the yoga centers, and by mid-February it usually fizzles out. And we all know what we're talking about here, right? You can see it in the regulars' eyes. People come in, people rush, they have all sorts of goals set in mind, and by the end of it, by mid-February, gone. What we want to do is through this webinar is kind of give you some tips on how to retain those clients, how to keep them coming back, so that you're not wasting this great opportunity that January provides all of us. How are we going to do that? How are we going to help you do that? Well, often enough, what these people need is just more value. How can you offer your students more value from them coming into your center or into your classes? And ultimately, that's what we want to show you today. It's like the more you can provide them, the more value they're going to get, the more willing they're going to come back to your classes or your studios. And we'll give you some really great simple tips to help do that. And at the same time, it's like ultimately we want to promote in you some creativity. How can you bring your own creativity out and draw these students in on a regular basis? Because we all know that it's consistency with this practice that we need. So January rush. Loads of people swarm into the yoga classes in the gyms, right? We see it all the time. It never fails. And but ultimately, it's like, what are you doing to I don't want to say capitalize on it, but to make sure that you benefit mostly, and so that they benefit also from this. If you're one of those, if you have classes or a studio that's not experiencing this January rush, there's some other webinars that we'll refer to later on in the presentation that you can do on marketing properly to draw people into your centers. But it's very rare that I see the places not full at this time of year. But why is it by mid-February those class sizes come back down to regular? You can see it in the eyes of your regular clients who've been coming consistently. They make these faces, they look around and they say, oh, it's January again, there's this big time rush coming around, but just give it some time and it'll fizzle out. We don't want that to happen. What we want is for normal to be full. Why aren't your classes full all the time? Not just in New Year's. Why isn't it full all the time? Why aren't these clients coming back consistently? And how can we, appeal to them so that they understand that this is something consistent that they have to keep doing? And what if you could offer a lot more value to your clients, to your students, for them to see results both on the mat and off the mat? What kind of services, what kind of offers can you bring to them that will show them how they can benefit on a regular basis in all aspects of their life. We all know, as those who teach yoga, that it's a lot more than about flexible hamstrings and a tight core. But do we do a good job communicating to this to our students? Both the ones that are returning, who haven't been there for a while, and the brand new students. Do we really do a good job letting them know what they're really going to get out of this practice? Or are we just shoveling them in, getting them to try a class out, getting their hamstrings flexible, and then boom, sending them out the door? Ultimately, are we really building a relationship with them? Most of the time, what I see in these yoga centers, it's a very little relationship building and just a whole lot of, rushing through, rushing through, rushing through. Think back to your first experience in a yoga center. I remember mine like it was yesterday because I was intimidated. I was someone who was coming from the gym. I was this big, 215-pound guy who, I was the last person I thought I'd be doing yoga. But finally, because of a friend convinced me, I show up to a yoga center one day, and it was like a mad rush rushing me through, signing the sheets, filling it out. Okay, give me my mat, send me to the classroom, and it really felt impersonal, and there was no relationship being built right there whatsoever. Especially in January with these yoga centers are generally like a zoo, and often it's such a quick process going through that front desk. There's no connection happening. It's completely disconnected experience. I mean, how would you, wouldn't you like to come in and feel like a nice warm welcome, get a little bit more of a tour, get things explained, especially if you're a new student. You don't know the proper etiquette, you don't know how to be, you don't know where to go, you don't know how to dress, you're shy, you're walking in. What kind of an experience are you creating for those first-time students to come in? Are they going to want to come back into your studio after that first-time experience? That can make or break. That first time that they come there could make or break whether or not they come back ever again. First-timers who come at the busy time feel more like they're being checked into a flight rather than a yoga class. We're trying to create this nice, open community atmosphere. We're trying to get them to relax and open up, yet it's just rush, rush, rush right through. Right? So you need to, if you have a studio, or even if you don't have a studio, if you're a teacher at a studio, you need to ask yourself, what is the first time experience like coming to your class or your studio? And you want to look at it through their point of view, not your own point of view, because some of us who've been teaching for a while, we forget. To us, yoga classes are just a natural thing. We come in, we come out, we do it, we love it. But again, think back to before you ever started yoga, and how you felt then. Go back to that mindset. I think that's very key sometimes. Like we forget sometimes how we were in our first few times coming to a yoga center. Before we go to this slide, right back to this, I don't know how many yoga centers right now that I've come into contact with, and I've been very fortunate to work with yoga centers all across the board, different cities all over the place. And it's amazing how, especially around this time of year, everybody has these 2-week unlimited specials or these 1-month unlimited specials where people sign up, get this awesome deal, or in some cases, these days they're even getting it for cheaper deals. And they do their 2 weeks free, and then boom, that's it. They're gone. That you have no connection with them. You've missed out the opportunity to build that relationship. I mean, I know so many yoga centers that don't even call their students after their first class to see what their experience was like, or somehow find a way to get some really good feedback from them based on their first experience. So we're going to give you a couple of ideas here, and again, these are just a few examples. We'll go through a few examples of things that you can do to develop that relationship, to keep them coming back in a long-term point of view instead of just a short-term, here, let me use up as many classes as I can in these 2 weeks and then never see you again. Because that happens all the time. Goal setting and intro seminars are a really good idea. Creating some kind of like a welcome package, maybe even with like information on yoga, goal sheets, something to help keep them focused on their goals, because especially this time of year, New Year's resolutions are coming about, and people will set stuff in mind, but then kind of don't follow through. So you can give them some help on that. Mainly though, even like this, offering a free intro seminar to introduce them to the center, to break down some of the myths about yoga, to kind of give them the lay of the land, show them the proper etiquette, being quiet in the hallways, all this kind of stuff. Not using your cell phones. It's all little things that you can do to help them out. goal setting is such a huge thing, and New Year's resolutions, goal setting, one and the same thing. Most of the time, goals and resolutions are not met. They're not achieved. I don't even remember what the stat is, but I think it's like less than 7% or something like that. People setting goals for themselves and then year after year setting the same goal because they've given up on it by February. If nothing, the yoga practice teaches us how to focus our attention and our energy and direct it into places that we want to direct it and achieve what it is we want to achieve. Like it really is about being disciplined. And, if you were to offer them some of this assistance, offer them some kind of a goal setting sheet that you can attach on the back of the waiver form. And we have a good example of it, or just one example of it in this next slide here. You give them something simple like this that you put together. You have it printed on the back of that waiver form. You can give them a physical intention, a mental intention, spiritual intention. You get them to fill it out either, before if they come in early enough, or generally after they're feeling good, after they've tried their first class, their brain physiology's changed a little bit. You get them to fill it out and set some goals. Maybe some of them won't set all of it, but some of them will set it up so that you can learn about them from this sheet. That's why this little goal setting sheet is also so important. By what they fill out on this sheet, by what they enter in, you're knowing what their wants are, what their desires are, where their pain is, where is it that they're lacking in their life. It's amazing what you can get to learn from this one little sheet from them. And ultimately, it's like the more you learn about your clients, the more you learn about what their wants are, the better you can serve them, right? So it's again making it about them. And notice that little star at the bottom there. Please take a moment now to decide how long you'd like to give yourself to reach these goals that you've set for yourself. And specifically that last line here about how often you feel you need to come to yoga class each week. Link it to that first section there, the physical intentions, or maybe the second one as well, or third. But it's like getting them to decide what they need to do to reach their goals. They've almost basically told you what package they need through there. So once you've seen this, they fill out this form. They fill out that last section. And right there and then you can, okay, well, hey, actually, we have this great package that can help you out, and you can come so many times a week. You've set them up on a long-term package. And ultimately, that's like a way that you're going to be able to, one, help them out to reach their goals and keep them committed. Again, because it's consistency with this practice that gives results, right? So it's like a way that you can keep them committed. And they've set the commitment for themselves this way, right? A little, the way I would like to formulate it, this is one example, one way that you can do it is offering two free seminars for every new student that comes in, potentially for the existing clients who want to, set up like a goal-setting seminar as well. Offer a free intro seminar, and then follow it with a goal-setting seminar. And in the following example, the way we've started out. So if you start with the intro seminar, just break down some of the myths about yoga, explain them what it's about, the benefits that they get. Introduce some of the teachers, make it a fun presentation, like some kind of an interactive 1 hour, 1.5 hour seminar that they can come in and get a more of an experience where you're pre-framing them, you're setting them up for something long term rather than just, hey, come in, try a class, see if you like it, and then try it again if you like it. If not, see you later, kind of thing. It's like you bring them in. I say free because it's a part of, or you make it a free seminar if you sign up now, kind of thing, where it's just like, how many myths did I have myself of coming into yoga? Had it been broken down to me, it may have been a little bit easier for me to commit right from the beginning. But here's the most important part here, that last line here in a different color here. Try to get a clear understanding of what their perception is of yoga and how they're looking at it from. And when you're talking about the benefits, it's like what benefits they're going to kind of respond to. And so it comes down to, again, knowing what your market is, knowing who your audience is, and ultimately being curious about them. We talked a lot about that in the marketing Yourself with Integrity webinar, which we'll place later on. And it's like the more you understand them, the more you can relate it to what they're going through, and the more they're going to be able to respond to it. At the I also have done like some intro seminars where introduce the proper breathing, get them a little more familiar with some of their body parts, some really short little key kind of basics about the yoga practice. And at the end of the seminar, you introduce them to their goal setting sheet if they haven't already kind of filled it out, and kind of go through some of the steps and some of the important aspects of it, but just very briefly to kind of set them up for the next seminar that comes along where you'll go in more detail with their goal sheets. But you set up the second seminar a couple of weeks or a week down the road, so that after they've tried a couple of classes out, they've been around your center a little bit, they're getting a little more into the yoga practice, they're starting to feel a little bit of the benefits from it. And then you go into this second seminar where you again help them through their goals, give them some steps, get them to commit to taking certain steps, and then my recommendation is pushing some of the longer term packages that you have at your center. Involve the existing customers as well. Like if you have customers who've gone through this process, who you've helped set some goals and who've seen them, or some customers who've been coming to your center for a while, and you know that they have some really good things to say, that they've experienced some really good benefits in their life, bring them into some of these seminars to talk for a few minutes about how they've experienced it, what they like about the center, why they keep coming back, who are maybe some of their favorite classes. If they see somebody real who's coming back in and have experienced all sorts of great benefits from it, they can relate to that. They're going to be more willing to say, hey, look, this person did it, he's in my community, they can associate with that, and it's like a huge motivating step for them. If you can't bring in the students, you can also film some videos, testimonials that you can play at this seminar, like very brief, nothing too long, some quick stuff that you can kind of replay over every seminar that you do. It's a huge motivating factor. You can, as we said earlier, like it's the seminars. This layout of the seminars is just one way of doing it. You can actually have more than 2 or 3 seminars. You can set it up however creatively you want to set it up. We're just trying to give you some brief examples here. I know one guy who has about 5 centers in Ottawa, and what he does is it's not so much yoga based yet, but what he does is he has an orientation session, a free consult, that before they've even come in for any of the classes, he sets it up so they come in, they have a one-on-one first for a few minutes with one of the trainers or one of the teachers. They go through, and then they all go into one room at the same time and go through these nice presentations, similar to what we've told you about, breaking down the myths, giving you some of the benefits, talking about goals and desires that they're trying to get out of certain programs. So there's different ways of doing it. Offering up a follow-up seminar that keeps them working in group settings. So if you get them involved with each other in these group seminars, get a community going, get them kind of connected with each other, right? If you get them connected with each other, they're already starting to feel like that hey, I'm a part of something. It's something different. I'm not just doing this on my own. There's other people who are working on things. Often enough, what I've seen in some of these goal-setting seminars is that a lot of people have similar goals, and they end up kind of connecting with each other and helping each other out, and then from that great experience that they have, they start talking about it in the community. So a lot of these yoga centers I know talk about creating community, but they're doing it in ways that aren't really kind of benefiting them, to get the word out to other people to draw them back in. And so ultimately at the end with these seminars, what you want to do is give these people tools to empower them, to help them out, to give them more value, to show them that they can get results with all of this yoga stuff that we talk about in all aspects of their life. One thing that I see often enough that's also a problem in yoga centers is that there's never like a group involvement here. It's very rare that people get the teachers and the front staff involved in big programs that they're doing. You know what I mean? So it's like have regular meetings with your teachers and your front staff and get them involved with these types of programs. So at the end of each class, if the teacher's involved with these goal setting seminars, and have you set your goals? Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you maybe talk to some of the students and get them up and saying, hey, I've achieved this, that, and the other thing. It's the more you can get people involved, the more you can get a group intention going, the more energy is involved, and the more people click in and dial into it. Get your staff to play full on with what it is you're trying to encourage with the center. It's so often it's I don't know how often I see it where the owner of a yoga center is doing one thing and none of their teachers are involved with it, and so the word is not really getting out. You got to remember that your teachers are a big part of how your clients interact with your center, and you need to keep them involved in the bigger picture that you're trying to create here. The more the staff aligns with your intent, the more power there is behind you. It's simple. And if you are not, if there's no leadership at your yoga center, you're trying to create this community, there needs to be some kind of leadership. There needs to be somebody kind of motivating them and drawing them in. And if you're the owner of the yoga center and you're not that leader, then find somebody who is. Find somebody who can develop relationships with the staff and the teachers and with the community. Somebody who's personable, somebody who likes to deal with people, somebody who loves, I should say, to deal with people, somebody who loves people in general, someone who, you want to have around. Because too often I see these front desks. Testing. Hello? Can you hear? Can everybody hear? Voice is cutting out. Type yes if you can hear me, please. Cutting in and out. Cutting in and out. No. Some of you can hear me well. Coming well. Sorry about that. We're just cutting in and out still. Yeah, some people are saying that, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to continue. Hopefully you guys can hear me. But where was I? Yeah, so it's like, how many times do I walk into a yoga center that I'm dealing with, doing a teacher training or a workshop at, and I see the person who's dealing with the customers at the front desk with like very, I understand people get busy, but you can't be rude to your customers. You can't be curt with them. You got to be, relaxed and comfortable and create an atmosphere that's going to keep them wanting to come back. Too often, there's people at the front desk that just, have no customer service abilities whatsoever, and they just shouldn't be there. Maybe they can do other tasks at the yoga center. I understand that, but who you have there at your front desk is going to make or break that experience for people. So make sure that it's someone who loves to deal with people. It's simple. Now, keeping track of all of these relationships, again, it comes down to, it could be a full-time job dealing with your client base and maintaining relationships. If you as the owner are not ready to maintain these relationships, then you need to work with others you need to have somebody working on board who's good at doing that. Whether it's a full-time position or someone part-time or someone on your staff, find somebody who can maintain these relationships, keep track of them, know the people who are coming in and out, know the clientele in ways that really feels personable. And there's different ways of keeping track of all your clientele. The right software can make it a lot easier so that keep maintaining these relationships is something, especially if you have 800, 1,000, 1,500, maybe even more than that. You really need some good software. And what I'm going to do now is pass it on to John, who can give you some really good tips on how to keep track and how to maintain all this. So here he is, with no further ado.
Hi there, everyone, and thanks again for joining us. My name's John Malik. Thanks big time there, Mark Laham. And I'm just going to quickly go over some of the things that we can implement using a really simple to use software system as well as social media. So the right software system can keep track of these relationships and help you. How? Let's talk about how PerfectMIND Yoga could help really quickly. So it's really a whole other webinar. I'm just going to give you 3 examples. Now, if you're starting a new approach to your intro program or a trial class online where you want to communicate to the people that will be coming down to put aside a little extra time than just jetting in the door a minute before class starts and leaving 1 minute after class ends, you can do this with an online promotion that costs you nothing, and you can put it up on your website, your blog, or perhaps your Facebook fan page. The second thing that happens when you're doing that in point number one is you need to manage the people who fill out that form. If a whole bunch of people fill out the form, it's really difficult to track it through email so that when they come down, they get the service and the friendly greeting they should, as well as obviously the ability to redeem that free class. The second point I want to quickly cover is that the studio manager will help you offer personalized attention. Now, Mark spoke about having a large customer base. As you know, if you have many teachers and many students, sometimes relationships can be fragmented, or sometimes you might forget a particular detail about someone that you really should know when you're talking about their next membership pass or the next set of classes they're going to be signing up for. So I'm going to show you how it can track their main interest, why it is that they're interested in yoga, as well as the goals they may have set on the goal setting sheet. The last thing I'm going to quickly cover is that selling classes and memberships, as well as managing how many classes or days remain on those passes, as well as transferring all the funds from the student payments to your bank account, can all also happen really easily in a software program. So let's quickly go through it. To start with, take a look at this little form that I put together. Now, our yoga clients on a regular basis utilize forms like this. So when you click on take a free class, or when you take on try our intro program out, you could see something like this that warms them up and lets them know a little bit more about what to expect. So hence the title at the top, Tips for Your First Time Taking a Class. Now, you go over the regular stuff, wear comfortable clothing, bring a bottle of water, remember to focus on enjoying that you have taken time out for yourself instead of worrying about your ability to hold a pose perfectly. You know, get them to feel comfortable about the idea of trying yoga with you for the very first time. Then further to that, one thing I recommend that you can try doing is have a little paragraph in there that helps them understand that you would like them to reserve a little bit more time outside of just the class time. Why? Because we take pride in knowing each one of our students so that we can recommend the best combination of class types. There's several different types of yoga classes we offer with varying levels to each class, so we need to ensure we're doing our part to provide the best experience possible. So you don't have to obviously use that word for word, but something that suits your tone and helps make them feel more comfortable, because as you know, a North American audience, it's difficult to get them to take an action unless they're comfortable with it. Then below there you see it says, please try a class on us. It's important to us that you are certain you enjoy classes at our studio before you become a student. So complete the form below and come down for your free class. Now, Mark spoke of many different models you can use. You could change this around to do the 2 weeks unlimited and have a price point or whatever it is, okay? But the idea behind it is you give them some kind of offer to come down and get exposed to the warmth and the culture of your studio. When they fill out that form, it'll automatically create a new member in your system, so it's easy to track them. If they come down and they say their name is John Smith, you type in John, S-M-I-T-H or whatever, and from there it pulls up his record and you can see he has one free class. So that's one thing that we do to help our clients. Now, the cool part is these kinds of forms, you can link them anywhere. You can put them on your blog, you can put them on your website, or even better yet, here's a Facebook fan page that we did for one of our clients. One of the services PerfectMIND Yoga also offers is we customize the social media channels for you, one of them being your Facebook fan page. So look at that nice high definition graphic at the bottom. Sign up here for your free trial class. Imagine they clicked that and saw that form that talks about tips for your first visit to our studio, and then they saw the form that they can fill out. Well, chances are they're going to feel comfortable if they realize you're already reaching out and trying to do everything possible to make sure they have a good experience when they come down. That's a little bit different than the call us button on your website. Here's another example of a way you could do it. You could put the form right inside of the fan page and have them fill it out right there. This is actually one of our company's Champions Way that's doing a free staff development course. It's targeting martial arts schools and their staff, but if any of you are interested in taking that course, it's free and it's online, and you can definitely contact us. Now, the second thing I mentioned was managing the personal details or the specifics of each one of your members so that way you're always speaking their language to them. There's a big difference between someone who's interested in yoga because it's a hobby and it's a social thing versus someone who's really enchanted by the spiritual aspects. So right there, I've circled the member waiver that we store under every member. Every single member that fills out the waiver, you can scan it and load it into the system so that you have both their member waiver as well as their goal setting sheet all in one easy to use spot. Now on the next slide here, I'm also showing how it's really easy outside of tracking the goals they may have set to track their main interest. It's so important again to know, is it teacher training? Was it weight loss and fitness? What is it that makes them tick? what is it that brought them down to you, so that way when we're sending out a newsletter, we know we can send a couple different versions to people based on what their interests are. Or when we're speaking to someone about, hey, you've got 2 passes left on your punch pass, and I was wondering if you wanted to try a 6-month unlimited plan, we know we can speak about it's going to help with your cross training, John, for whatever your other activity is, or if you're looking at losing some weight, this is the best deal for you right now. All I'm saying here, ladies and gentlemen, is make sure that you're speaking about the things that they're interested in, and the software can help you track that rather than trying to memorize every single person's situation. Last but certainly not least, when you have someone ready to make a purchase of a membership or a or a set of classes, it makes it really easy when you have a software program. So here's some examples. We're selling meditation retreats. We've got 1 lesson passes, and we have unlimited 3-month passes, all kinds of passes here. You can see a little buy now button there, and essentially all you do is you click on the buy now button, fill out the person's information, and now the pass is automatically added to their profile. Each time they take a class, 1 class is removed from their profile. If it's an unlimited plan, as time goes by, they near their expiration date. And what's really cool is the system keeps up with them. So if they come in for class and they're below a certain amount of lessons remaining, or there's only a week left on their pass, the system will notify you so that way you can stay on top of those things. So that's just a couple examples of how the Perfect Mind services could help you in making sure that each person you generate during the rushes of the seasons in the year remain as an ongoing member that has continuity and really experiences the benefit of your training instead of doing that first 1 month unlimited and then falling off the face of the earth. Thank you so much. We're going to open everything up for questions right now. And please just type them in the chat box and we'll answer them in the order they come in. And also, please be sure to keep in touch with us. We're going to be recording this webinar and putting it on our YouTube channel there that you see at the top. Also, if you're interested in checking out any of the services we offer, the perfectmind.com/yoga website is the place to be. And last but certainly not least, if you'd like to get in more contact with Mark Laham, he has his website right there, themindbodywarrior.com. So thank you so much, and let's take some questions.
If you have any question at all, just type it in the chat box, and one of the hosts will be happy to answer the question. Rates start at $49, Patricia. Yes, our software does do scheduling, Therese.
That's a great question. Some of our clients are actually using MindBody to manage their studio, as well as our services to manage their online presence and their social media marketing. In other cases, some people have actually transferred all of their data out of the MindBody system, and we offer a free database import service where we can import the data into our system, so that way you have a seamless transition. Thank you so much for the question. Okay, the next question. What if you don't have an office or a front desk person at your studio and no computer equipment? I understand exactly what you're saying. So this is one of those situations where you do what you can. If you have the opportunity or the facilities to bring a laptop to the business, that is going to help you tremendously. But not all of us have the budget to get a laptop tomorrow. So what you can do is have those goal sheets, have sign-in sheets, and do everything hard copy at the studio. Then, unfortunately, it requires a little bit of a longer day. But after each day or before each day, just update your software, which is online. You can update it from a library, an internet cafe, from your home, from your telephone. So basically, focus on servicing your members when you're in the studio, and then after the action settles down, update everything in the software program, which is online and available anywhere. Okay, the next question I'm going to pass to Mark Laham.
So the question is, when do you find the most effective time to talk to first times, before class or after class? Now, that question really depends on the person and the time of the year and stuff. If they come in early enough and you have time, I would say do it before class. But generally after class, they're feeling better. Their brain physiology has changed. The right chemicals are running through their system. So they may be a little more open, and now they've experienced the benefits. They felt better. I mean, I remember after my first class, I felt so relaxed. I was like, wow, this is awesome. So if you can kind of pre-frame them at the beginning when they first come in, say, hey, if you can leave 15 minutes after class, we'd like to talk to you and see, get some feedback, this and that, and show, and then at that point you can talk to them, have somebody who's dedicated to doing that basically, and kind of find out, again, like with the goal setting sheets and stuff, where their goals and wants are and what program would be best for them. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, next question is, what are the main differences between MindBody Online and Perfect Mind? honestly, the best thing I could suggest is go to that second link, perfectmind.com/yoga, and get your own free trial of it, or give us a call. The phone number's on the website. We've been more than happy just to go through and see what are the main differences that are relevant to you. Our competitive analysis has shown us there's over about 100 differences, but the main theme that I would say is that it's a little bit more user-friendly, and it has the connection to the social media channels. That's one of the main features that we're pushing forward with our yoga and wellness clients, because we're operating on shoestring marketing budgets, and social media and Groupon and all these little offers out there are so hot right now, and there's some strategies that we have in place that can help you benefit from them. Okay, the next question, is there a contract for your service? Is the $49 price locked in for a contract time? No, it is month to month. If you like us, keep using it. If you're not enjoying the service, you can certainly opt out. However, we do have a tech support plan, unlimited training and tech support and unlimited calls that does have a commitment involved, and we've been more than happy to share all that information if you want to give us a call after the webinar, or if you'd like to just fill out one of the trial forms on the website. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have about that. Darlene says, what would a version of your software cost? Is the FBook help separate? And thank you very much. Well, thank you very much for attending. The version of your software, again, $49 a month is the cost to use the software. Okay, we are running a special right now on our tech support and training program so that you can call my friend Darren and he'll set you up. We'll put his phone number in there for you. Also, is the Facebook help separate? Well, there's two levels to it. There's the do-it-yourself, where you can learn all the strategies in an easy step-by-step video guide that will show you how to do things. Or you can go to a higher level of service called social media optimization. We also call it SMO. What SMO is where we actually do the networks for you. So what we do is we set up over our 50 social media networks, and we do the posting for you based on your content. Does that answer your question, darling? And Darren, if you're there, just type in your number into the chat box so that way everybody knows how to contact you. And thank you, darling. Great question, Karen. Does SMO cost more? Correct. The social media optimization service is a separate service from just the software. And what it involves is two levels. You can have a level where we set up all the networks for you, including your Facebook fan page, your YouTube channel, Twitter, Squidoo, Reddit, Dig, and 45 others. Now, the cool part about this is that we'll do the posting for you depending on how often you want, either 2 times a day or 4 times a day. Also, we do what are called social media objects, which is either a video or a high-definition photo that can be put up online and you tag your friends in it. The best thing I could suggest you do, Karen, is contact Darren. His phone number is right there in the chat box, and he can answer any questions you have specific to your needs. Or if you're not shy, you can always put your phone number in the chat box and he can call you. We're hoping that the energy level everybody started today's webinar with went up just a little bit, or at least maybe there's some tenacity inside of you to try some of the things that were discussed. We're well aware that everybody has a different approach to how they want to offer their lessons, and we're hoping there were some tools you were able to maybe augment for your own approach or take away. And also, one thing that would be greatly appreciated is if any of you ever have any suggestions for topics you'd like us to cover in an upcoming webinar, please feel free to contact us, because we're doing our best to try and find out what type of topics we feel will be best for you given the time of year as well as the trends in the market. But you guys are on the front lines, and the more people that contribute, the better the webinars will be. We're really trying to make this a community, so please don't be shy. We'll keep the room open just for maybe 2 or 3 more questions if anybody has any. If you guys are private messaging each other, I encourage you to exchange email addresses and phone numbers. Let's try and build some friendships and some networks out of this. I truly believe that the pie is big enough for everyone in the yoga and wellness market, and there's no need to consider any other yoga studio as a competitor. We're all in this together, so by all means, exchange contact information, and maybe we can put together some meetups and get some group discussions going outside of just these webinars as well. All right, and on that note, Laura, I think we're going to call it a day. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you can thank Mr. Mark Laham for the presentation, that would be greatly appreciated. I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to come and join us. Once again, this has been another webinar for Perfect Mind Yoga. We look forward to seeing you at the next one and hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much. This is John Malik for Perfect Mind signing off.